Hello everybody, I am George and today I'm here with Sony ambassadors Kate and Brent who are going to be talking all about the brand new A1 Mark II. Now just to give you a little bit of information on the new camera, it has a 50.1 megapixel sensor for lots of detail. It extremely excitingly has a brand new processor with AI involved. The AI is largely used for helping with the autofocus, which there are a whole host of new features on, making sure that you can get really nice, crisp, sharp images in any environment. But there's not just resolution for stills because it can also shoot 8K 30p video, and that is in 422 rather than 420. And speed is also of the essence with this new body, offering 30 frames a second continuous shooting and pre-capture. But without further ado, let's hear what Kate and Brent think because they've been using the camera and actually testing it out. So just to get started, what sort of things do you guys tend to shoot?
So we probably specialise in high-end weddings, dark venues. Historic dark venues is kind of what we're probably best known for. Yeah. And alongside that, we do a lot of commercial work, and probably our favourite is actually kind of food and drinks photography.
It's such an interesting camera, I think, the A1 Mark II, because obviously it's their flagship. The fact that you can shoot, it's designed for shooting weddings, food, sports, wildlife. It really is a camera that does it all. And it is, in my opinion, a true hybrid between video and photography. I don't know how you guys feel about that, if you agree.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree on that. I mean, one of the cameras that I use a lot of is, because of the historic dark venues, is the A7 III.
Yes.
But from a photographic point of view, it doesn't deliver what obviously the new A1 Mark II would do. So from a hybrid perspective, the film and then the stills on that is fantastic. So it serves our needs incredibly well because we will switch between film and photography in these sort of venues a lot.
I think it's the first camera that we would truly both consider having.
Yeah. Because
currently although I've used the A1 a lot, tend to still use a lot of the A9 series, and you use the S's because of the light. So we've got quite a lot of cameras, and for the first time we were both using the same camera and just thought, oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then let's get into that AI processor, because to me, I think that is the most exciting thing that they've added in this camera. So just to give you guys a little bit of detail, essentially this AI processor is performing functions which help the autofocus to be more intelligent and react faster. So that is actually practically going to be useful in stuff like it has a sort of, they call it like people intelligent movement or something like that. And essentially what it means is the camera, if you're filming, let's say a person, will predict the movement of that person before it happens and then know, okay, well, this person's walking, let's say from one side of the frame to the other. They're likely to carry on walking from one side of the frame to the other. Therefore, the tracking is predicting that movement and making sure that then it will always stay on that person as they continue that movement. There's obviously a few other features that come with that AI as well, but what do you think about that? Is that something that you guys think you'll be using?
I mean, for me, the AI intelligence and from a filming perspective, and the fact that it's actively tracking the eye, but as soon as the person's turning their head away, it's now keeping it on the head, and then when they totally turn, it's going to the body, and that's functionality that, when your hand's on the camera, you're allowing the AI processing unit to give you all of that intelligence and keeping you locked on, keeping it perfectly in focus. It's an indispensable tool in the sense of run, gun, moving fast, needing to have the camera do what it needs to do, but quickly.
Yeah, it was remarkable. It's doing a lot of work for you.
I think the fact that it can auto switch is just, it's quite incredible that it can, you don't have to interact with the camera anymore and go, I'm now doing an animal or whatever it is. It's going to figure it out and do it for you.
Yeah. So just to clarify, guys, that what we're talking about is there is a new feature within the A1 Mark II, which is auto detect. So usually when you're in the autofocus modes, you might select, okay, I want to shoot people, planes, as we've mentioned, stuff like that. This one is auto, which is brilliant because certainly for myself personally, I do a lot of documentary work. I do a lot of like street style videography where I'm wandering around the streets and from each moment, I'm going from filming perhaps a speaker talk to then getting B-roll and then going immediately back to getting a speaker talk. So what I'm filming essentially is completely inconsistent from one moment to another. The fact that now they have this auto mode, frankly, I think I'll almost always be shooting on this auto mode. I can't see many situations, unless I know I'm only going to be filming one thing all day, I'll probably just leave it on auto.
Yeah.
And the fact that it has that AI to intelligently know is just brilliant. Exactly as you said, is just adding tools that make our lives a lot easier. It's doing a lot of the work for us. One of the other things I'm really excited about is pre-capture. They've included it in this camera, and of course, if you're a sports or wildlife shooter, it's extremely useful. It means that if you're going to miss that moment, well, using pre-capture, you haven't actually missed the moment. So on that pre-capture, you can shoot up to 1 second. So it's from 0.3 of a second to 1 second. But when you are shooting in that continuous mode, you get 153 shots without any blackout as well. So you can see exactly what you're doing, perfect for sports photographers. I don't know if that's something that, do you guys use that maybe occasionally for weddings to use it, or is that not something?
I mean, there's certainly moments where if you have the functionality, then I would have it in my menu so I can turn it on and off really quickly. Actually, like the first kiss. If you miss it, you miss it.
Yeah.
Confetti, something like that. There's definitely ways we could use it. But in terms of speed, then actually, if you're talking about getting the moment, which is relevant for everybody, for me, the solution in the new camera that was just incredible is this continued shoot burst, the ability to actually put that onto a button.
Yes.
So that rather than having, so I like to shoot in low, so up to 3 frames or even single shot. I don't like the camera just kind of triggering.
Yeah.
Really annoys me. So at a wedding, I'm always obviously 1 step ahead, and I'm thinking, okay, it's about to be confetti, it's about to be fireworks, so I will always go into high frame rate, and it's a conscious stop, think, change. So the new C5 button, which I think both Brent and I would say is a bit of for us, a standout feature because of what we do with it. It's in here ergonomically, so easy to get to. And I put that onto high, 30 FPS. And so every time I knew something was about to happen on the shoots that we did, you literally just hold it in and you've got 30 frames. And then you go back to the way, single frame, or to me, that was standout.
So that is 8.5 stops of IBIS in the center of the image on this new body as well. The previous iteration of the A1 was 5 stops. So you can actually, that illustrates just how much the handheld shooting has been improved. And then moving on to talking about some of the video options, you obviously have the incredibly impressive 8K resolution. But what's your guys' take on some of the video specs? Of course, you also get to shoot 4K up to 120p as well, which I imagine was really useful on the windy day that you were shooting at.
Yeah, actually, down on that cove with the shipwreck, the wind was very strong. So, on the beach, we had this gorgeous vale. And if I was to play the footage in real time, the veil was just going absolutely nuts. So, being able to shoot at 100 frames was essential to bring it back to just something more gorgeous. The light was great. The ocean was amazing.
The waves. There's a shot. It looks like a tsunami.
It looks like a tsunami's coming in.
And you can experience it in a kind of otherworldly way with this kind of slow-mo. And I really think it does change the experience for the viewer a lot, doesn't it?
You also can utilize Super 35 mode with this camera, which the old one couldn't. And that's something that's really exciting to me because Super 35 mode obviously introduces a crop onto the image. Now, I know we're not always a fan of crops. We shoot full frame cameras for a reason. But for me, the real perk is when using a prime lens, you have essentially 2 options because you can either use it in full frame or you can use it with that crop. So if I have, let's say, a 50mm, it's actually going to act a bit more like a 50mm when it's in full frame, but then maybe like a 75 when in that Super 35 crop. I don't know what you guys have found when using the video specs and some of the stuff I've just spoken about.
Yeah, I mean, when we did the food shoot, it was outdoors, it's a fire, it is at night. I rely on the S3s, being a low light camera. I was very surprised at the ability of the camera to shoot in that evening. It was From a noise perspective, I didn't see it. There was only a limited amount of ambient light.
Yeah.
There was light from the fire, and it wasn't something that I noticed at all. And so I was actually very impressed with its low light ability.
And the dynamic range, and we chose two highly contrasty scenarios. It couldn't get any tougher for the cameras. One was the beach was bright sun on water, low sun with deep shadows in the wreck, and then the food, it was night versus flame. You know, so we really tested it, and the dynamic range was excellent. The noise performance was excellent.
And then one thing that we were speaking just a little bit before we were on camera, and you were both telling me about how the new feature where you can pull stills from video is really good. So what you can do is you can essentially pull a still directly from the video you're shooting. Now, I think a lot of you probably might be a bit confused, like, well, like, why is that useful? Like, shouldn't you just shoot stills or just shoot video? But I think in this day and age, you know, budgets are tight for brands and stuff, and they want to hire a video and photo person all in one, or, you know, perhaps two people can't be at the same place at the same time. Now, the still that you can pull out when you're shooting in 8K is actually 33 megapixel as well. So there's actually loads of detail there like that. You know, that's higher resolution than a lot of cameras actually shoot. And then it is going to be less when you're shooting in 4K or Full HD. So I think if you do want to pull out like really good quality stills, I'd recommend shooting in 8K. But of course, if you know you're going to be pulling stills from video, which is the sort of thing you'd know going into the shoot, then you could also know, well, okay, for this one, I'll bump it up to 8K.
It also depends what the deliverable is. If you know you're going to have to deliver print res, then definitely 8K. But you know, so many people want the stills for social or still web stuff. So and at the end of the day, Brent and I shoot side by side, but we're not always framing in the same way. Or and on the wreck particularly, literally light was dropping, and Brent was it was so hard to move around. Every time we shifted position to change the shot, it was like clambering across, you know, exposed metal, and it was pretty dangerous. And he actually shouted to me and said, "Oh, this is a beautiful angle." And I just shouted back, "Well, grab some stills for me." Now that did not mean.
Yep.
It meant, okay, and he set it up to be able to do that. So, and I did use them. So,
really?
yeah,
okay, cool.
No, it was great. And for us as true hybrid, and what we really are, it's kind of almost a non-negotiable for us now.
And then one feature which I also do want to mention is, if 50 megapixel isn't enough for you, this camera also has pixel shifting as well, so then it can utilize that pixel shift technology to get even higher resolution images than 50 megapixels. So if you know that perhaps you don't quite have the lens for a shot, and you know that you want to crop it but still have a lot of good quality to your image, or if you know that this image is being printed to a pretty ridiculous degree, then you can of course use that technology to help you do so. But very excitingly, this isn't the only announcement that we have from Sony today, because if you're a keen-eyed viewer, although I'd be really impressed if you have noticed, there is a brand new lens on the front of this brand new camera. It is the 28-70 f2. So obviously this is completely remarkable that Sony have launched an f2 zoom lens, especially it being that 28-70 focal length as well, because I mean, that's the focal length that most of us, I think, shoot on, or it's something within that range. But I haven't actually used it, I've just felt it, and also I do want to add, it's insanely light, like ridiculously light. It feels like it weighs very similar to the old G Master, but of course you get so much more f-stop than this. But doesn't matter what I think, because I haven't actually used it, so let's hear from you two.
Headline, honestly, I think it's a bit of a game changer. And I don't think Brent and I say things like that very easily. We absolutely love it.
Love it.
Like, love it. It's shocked us. We obviously didn't take it off the cameras for the time we had it, and never once pined for another lens. And that, we have a lot of lenses. So we're not the kind of, we just shoot on two. We're very much people that change lenses a lot. 24-70 for us, the 2.8s, the Mark IIs are workhorse lenses. They're lovely, but I don't get excited by it. Okay, so that's right. It's a workhorse. So there you go. Ugh. This lens,
Get excited.
I'm a little bit in love.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely beautiful.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the drop off. I mean, filming on it and filming. We started filming on the beach in lunchtime, and the model was in front and the rocks behind. The drop off was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, well done, Sony.
Yeah. We paired with the body, with
combination.
This combination was absolutely amazing, and speed-wise, the lens is fast as well. So at f2, the speed that it's got, yeah, it was just an absolutely brilliant combination.
Now, unfortunately, that is it for this video, gang. We will definitely be doing more content with the A1 and this new lens because I'm really excited about both these products. Like, I'm sure that the team at Works will get them in their hands, and then we can tell you all about them and, of course, shoot some of our own images. But that is it from today. If you have any questions about this launch or any Sony products or how we've found using any of these products, then please pop a comment down below and we'll get back to you. But otherwise, have a lovely day and we'll see you in the next video.